There are vegetables sitting quietly on your plate, harmless, or so they seem. But what if I told you that some of them could slowly chip away at your health without you even realizing it? Stay with me, because what you're about to learn might completely change the way you look at your next meal. 1. Hidden toxins in your veggies. Did you know, my friend, that some vegetables, despite their healthy reputation, can secretly work against your body? It sounds surprising, doesn't it? But the truth is, nature often hides certain compounds in plants to protect them from predators, and while these compounds might be harmless in small amounts, they can cause real trouble when consumed excessively, especially for seniors. Let's talk about oxalates first. These sneaky little compounds are found in spinach, beets, and rhubarb. At first glance, these veggies seem like superfoods, but oxalates can bind to calcium in your body, forming crystals known as kidney stones. If you've ever experienced one, you'll know it's no laughing matter. Imagine waking up to a sharp pain in your lower back and realizing that something as innocent as a spinach salad might have played a role. To reduce this risk, it's best to steam or boil these vegetables, as cooking can lower oxalate levels significantly. Now let's move on to lectins, which are most commonly found in beans, lentils, and tomatoes. Lectins can interfere with nutrient absorption in your gut, leading to bloating, indigestion, and in some cases, chronic inflammation. They act almost like a security guard, making it harder for your body to break down food and absorb the vitamins it needs. But don't worry, there's good news. Soaking beans overnight or cooking them thoroughly can neutralize most of these compounds, making them safer to enjoy. And let's not forget goitrogens, found in cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, cabbage, and cauliflower. While these veggies are fantastic for most people, they can disrupt thyroid function if consumed raw, especially for those already dealing with thyroid issues. A quick stir-fry or light steaming can help minimize this effect, so you don't have to skip your broccoli entirely. 2. Vegetables that raise blood sugar levels. Let's shift gears for a moment. Have you ever felt sluggish or lightheaded after eating a plate of mashed potatoes or corn on the cob? That might be your blood sugar levels spiking. And this is especially important for seniors or anyone managing diabetes or metabolic syndrome. Potatoes, for example, are rich in starches, which the body quickly converts into glucose. Imagine this. You enjoy a baked potato, but within an hour you feel like you need a nap. That's your blood sugar roller coastering, up fast and crashing hard. Over time, these fluctuations can lead to insulin resistance, a precursor to type 2 diabetes. But don't worry, you don't have to swear off potatoes entirely. Try eating them boiled and cooled, which reduces their glycemic impact by turning some of their starch into resistant starch that digests more slowly. And let's talk about corn. It's sweet, it's crunchy, and it's often a summer favorite. But what many people don't realize is that corn is naturally high in sugars and carbohydrates. Eating too much corn can send your blood sugar soaring, especially when it's processed into corn syrup or chips. Instead, opt for fresh corn in smaller portions or mix it into salads with high-fiber greens to slow down sugar absorption. Sweet potatoes deserve a quick mention too. They might sound like a healthier option, and they can be. But portion control is key. They're packed with nutrients like beta-carotene, but they're still carb-heavy. So pairing them with a protein source like grilled chicken or beans can help stabilize blood sugar. 3. surprising veggies that worsen arthritis and joint pain. Now, my friend, let's talk about something that's near and dear to many seniors: joint health. If you've ever woken up feeling stiff or struggled to open a jar because of achy fingers, you're not alone. Arthritis affects millions of people, and what you eat might be making it worse without you even realizing it. Take nightshade vegetables like tomatoes, peppers, eggplants, and potatoes. They're colorful, delicious, and packed with nutrients. But here's the catch. They also contain a compound called solanine, which has been linked to inflammation in some individuals. Imagine biting into a juicy tomato, only to find your knees acting up later that day. It's not guaranteed, of course, but for those with rheumatoid arthritis, nightshades can sometimes trigger flare-ups. If you suspect nightshades might be your culprit, don't worry. You don't have to give them up entirely. Cooking them, for example, can reduce solanine levels, and pairing them with anti-inflammatory foods like olive oil or turmeric might help balance their effects. And speaking of balance, always make sure to include vegetables rich in omega-3 fatty acids like spinach and kale, which can reduce inflammation rather than worsen it. Think of it as a seesaw. If one side tips too far, adding anti-inflammatory foods can bring it back into balance. 4. Vegetables that can cause kidney problems. Let me ask you, my friend, have you ever felt a sudden, sharp pain in your lower back that made you stop in your tracks? If you have, you might already know the agony of kidney stones. These little troublemakers are often caused by something as innocent as the vegetables on your plate. Surprising, right? Take spinach, for example. It's packed with vitamins and minerals, but it also hides a sneaky compound called oxalates. Oxalates love to bind with calcium in your body, forming crystals that can eventually turn into kidney stones. Imagine trying to pass one of those crystals through your urinary tract. Let me tell you, it's not a walk in the park. Then there's beets, which are often celebrated for their ability to boost blood flow and improve heart health. But, and this is a big but, they're also high in oxalates. For someone with a history of kidney stones, a beet salad might look less like a health boost and more like a ticking time bomb. And let's not forget rhubarb. It's a favorite in pies and desserts, but its high oxalate levels make it a risky choice for those prone to kidney problems. You might love its tart flavor, but your kidneys, not so much. So, the takeaway? Treat these veggies like that friend who's fun in small doses, but exhausting in large amounts. Enjoy them, but keep an eye on how much you're having. Your kidneys will thank you. 5. Thyroid-blocking vegetables you didn't know about. Now, let's talk about the thyroid, that small butterfly-shaped gland in your neck that works like the body's thermostat. It controls everything from your metabolism to your energy levels. But here's the twist. Certain vegetables can throw this delicate balance off if you're not careful. I'm looking at you, broccoli, cauliflower, and cabbage. These are part of the cruciferous family, and while they're packed with vitamins and antioxidants, they also contain goitrogens, compounds that can interfere with iodine absorption. And guess what? Your thyroid needs iodine to produce hormones. Without enough of it, the gland can slow down, leaving you feeling tired, sluggish, and maybe even a little foggy-headed. The good news is that cooking these vegetables can neutralize most of the goitrogens, making them much safer to enjoy. So, instead of raw cabbage in your salad, try it lightly. Sautéed with garlic and olive oil, it's tasty and easier on your thyroid. For those already dealing with hypothyroidism, moderation is key. And if you're not sure whether these veggies are affecting you, it might be worth checking your iodine levels with your doctor. 6. Hidden allergens and digestive disruptors in vegetables. Now let's shift gears and talk about something we don't often discuss: bloating, gas, and digestive discomfort. If you've ever had to unbutton your pants after a meal or felt like there was a balloon inflating in your stomach, you're not alone. And believe it or not, the culprits might be sitting right on your plate. Take beans and lentils as for example. They're often praised as protein powerhouses, but they also contain lectins, proteins that can disrupt digestion and even trigger mild allergic reactions in some people. Lectins act almost like glue, sticking to the lining of your gut and interfering with nutrient absorption. No wonder you feel bloated after that lentil soup. But here's the good news. You can neutralize lectins by soaking beans overnight, cooking them thoroughly, or even sprouting them. It's like taming a wild animal. Once you handle them properly, they're much easier to digest. Let's not forget onions and garlic. While they add flavor to almost any dish, they're rich in fructans, a type of carbohydrate that can cause bloating and gas, especially for people with irritable bowel syndrome, IBS. Imagine sitting through dinner with stomach cramps. No one wants that. So, what's the solution? Cooking these vegetables often makes them easier to digest, and if you're sensitive to beans or lentils, try blending them into soups or dips to reduce their impact on your gut. 7. Vegetables that interfere with medication absorption. Have you ever heard the saying, "Too much of a good thing can be bad"? Well, my friend, that couldn't be truer when it comes to leafy greens like kale, spinach, and Swiss chard, especially if you're taking blood thinners or anticoagulants like warfarin. Now, don't get me wrong. These vegetables are nutritional powerhouses loaded with vitamins, fiber, and antioxidants. But here's the twist. They're also rich in vitamin K, which plays a key role in blood clotting. Normally, that's a good thing because it helps stop bleeding when you get a cut. But for someone on blood thinners, adding too much vitamin K to the diet can counteract the effects of the medication, making the blood more likely to clot. The solution isn't to avoid these greens entirely. After all, they're packed with nutrients your body needs. Instead, focus on consistency. If you enjoy spinach or kale, eat them in moderate and regular amounts so your doctor can adjust your medication accordingly. Think of it like balancing a seesaw, keeping things steady instead of letting one side tip too far. And one last tip, always keep your doctor in the loop about your diet. You'd be surprised how something as simple as a change in salad ingredients can affect your medications. It's a small step, but it could make a big difference in keeping your blood and your health in perfect harmony. 8. Pesticide-heavy veggies to watch out for. Now, let's talk about something that's not as obvious but just as important: pesticides. Have you ever wondered why some vegetables look so perfect in the grocery store? Well, my friend, that perfection often comes at a cost. Certain vegetables, especially those listed in the dirty dozen, tend to absorb more pesticides than others. I'm talking about favorites like spinach, kale, bell peppers, and celery. Vegetables many of us rely on for a healthy diet. But here's the kicker. Those pesticides don't just rinse off with water. They can linger, seeping into the plant's surface and, over time, into our bodies. Studies have shown that long-term exposure to pesticide residues may increase the risk of hormonal imbalances, nerve damage, and even cancer. And for seniors, whose bodies might already be more sensitive, these effects can be even more pronounced. Imagine eating a seemingly healthy salad every day, only to find out later that the chemicals in those veggies were silently working against your health. So, what can we do? First, whenever possible, opt for organic produce, especially for the vegetables listed in the Dirty Dozen. Organic farming uses fewer synthetic pesticides, making the produce safer to consume. If organic isn't an option, don't worry. Just wash your vegetables thoroughly with a mixture of water and vinegar, or use a produce wash to help reduce pesticide residue. 9. Fermented or pickled veggies. Friend or foe? All right, let's dive into something that might surprise you. Fermented and pickled vegetables. You've probably heard people rave about their probiotic benefits, but have you ever stopped to wonder if they're as good for you as they claim? Now, don't get me wrong. Foods like sauerkraut, kimchi, and pickles can be fantastic for gut health. They're packed with good bacteria that support digestion and boost immunity. But here's the catch. They're also loaded with sodium. For seniors, who might already be keeping an eye on their blood pressure, too much sodium can spell trouble. Imagine sitting down to a meal, thinking you're doing your gut a favor with a side of kimchi, only to find your blood pressure creeping up over time. High sodium levels can retain water, making your heart work harder and potentially leading to hypertension or even heart failure. But don't worry, there's a middle ground. If you love pickled vegetables, try low-sodium versions or rinse them underwater before eating to wash away some of the salt. And if you're into making your own fermented foods, you can control the amount of salt in the recipe to make it healthier. 10. Raw versus cooked. Which vegetables are safer for seniors? Have you ever wondered if eating vegetables raw is always better? Well, not necessarily, my friend, especially for seniors. Some vegetables like kale, spinach, and Brussels sprouts contain anti-nutrients such as oxalates and goitrogens that can interfere with nutrient absorption or affect thyroid function. Take spinach, for example. It's rich in calcium and iron, but its high oxalate content can block absorption and even lead to kidney stones. Cooking it reduces these compounds, making nutrients easier to absorb. Similarly, kale and Brussels sprouts contain goitrogens that may impact thyroid health, but steaming or boiling neutralizes much of the risk. That said, some vegetables like carrots, cucumbers, and bell peppers are best eaten raw to retain their vitamin C and antioxidants. The trick is knowing which veggies benefit from cooking and which shine in their natural state. So, balance is key. Enjoy a fresh salad when you can, but don't shy away from steamed or sautéed options, especially if digestion or absorption is a concern. 11. Are canned or frozen vegetables risky for seniors? Canned and frozen vegetables are convenient, but are they always safe? Let's take a closer look. Canned vegetables often contain high sodium for preservation, which can raise blood pressure and cause fluid retention, issues common among seniors. To reduce this risk, opt for low-sodium options and rinse them before eating. Also, watch out for BPA-lined cans, which may pose hormonal risks. Choose BPA-free packaging whenever possible. Frozen vegetables, on the other hand, are usually flash frozen to lock in nutrients. However, pre-seasoned options may include added salt, sugar, or sauces that you don't need. Stick to plain frozen veggies and season them yourself to stay in control of the ingredients. Both options can be healthy if chosen carefully. The goal is to enjoy their convenience while staying mindful of additives and packaging risks. Balance, as always, is the key to a healthy plate. My friend, choosing the right vegetables and preparing them properly can make a big difference in your health. Keep a balanced approach and pay attention to what works best for your body. If you found this information helpful, don't forget to share it with your friends on WhatsApp so everyone can benefit.